And we are back with our way too early 2026-2027 NFL season predictions. How this video is going to work is I am going to be predicting every game. I've already made the predictions. I'm just going to be scrolling through them. Of every single game, all 272 plus the playoffs, who I think will win the Super Bowl if, say, my scenario plays out. And also, just to clarify, if you don't know, every year I do, weekly predictions, and I count my wins and losses towards my record on year. This is not going to count as anything. This is just for fun, way too early. And yeah, that's just kind of how it's going to be. So all the picks have been made, but I'm not going to spoil any of them. We're just going to scroll through week by week. I'm not really going to commentate too much either, but as you can see, if the team's background is their color, it means they are winning. If the background is white, it means they are losing. So, and all the scores are the same. I didn't want to input manual scores for all 272 games. I apologize. But it also works by, it does AFC versus AFC to start, then AFC versus NFC in the middle, as you can see, and then at the bottom, it is the NFC versus NFC teams. So here are all the picks I have for the week 1. We are then going to move over to week 2, where, as you can see, same exact thing. I made the picks already. And I'm just going to keep scrolling, as you can see. Maybe talk about a few games. If there's an upset, I do believe that could happen. If a team, because there are some teams who haven't gotten a win in a while in this, I will, go ahead and talk about those teams. I do have the picks memorized, but yeah. As we can see, arguably Browns-Panthers. Browns could be an upset win there. What I'm going for, maybe also Falcons-Packers could argue an upset, but there's week 3, maybe even Bears-Eagles or Vikings-Buccaneers could be argued it's an upset. Going on to week 4 now. And feel free to try and play along, track the picks, whatever it may be. I don't know what the letters mean, though, in these. I don't know if it means they're coming off of, a short week, because it's the letter Z, which I assume means they're coming off of a short week. And because there's also letter B's, you can't see it because it hasn't happened yet. I assume it means short week, and then B stands for they're coming off of a bye. Like, you play a Thursday night game, and then you're playing a Sunday would be a Z. Like, you got that extra rest. But here are all my picks so far. No real upsets in a while, I will say. But I can give you a hint. It will be changing very soon. I actually believe it might be next week. But yeah, here's the week 6 picks. Like I said, I'm trying not to spoil. You can see at the very bottom. I do believe it is week 7. It might be week 8. Jets, Dolphins. Both of those teams struggling. Jets pick up the win there. Okay, it might be week 8 then, because it's not week 7. And I know this is going to get a lot of controversy, but hey, it's fine. Titans over Bengals, I do believe, is an upset. We have the Arizona Cardinals, if you weren't paying attention. They get their first win this week, week 8 against the Cowboys. So about time for them. Also ignore the ads at the bottom. Yeah. The website's got to make a living, so I'm not going to blame them. Yeah, you see B with the Saints there. I finally noticed it. But you could argue Browns, Saints, one of those could be an upset. But I'm sure you get the gimmick. I know this also isn't going to be the most entertaining video per se, but it's just my picks. Not much I can really talk about. I can't really say, hey, this guy performed really well and all yada, yada, yada. Chargers, Justin Herbert throws for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns to no interceptions in a 45-35 win over Ravens. Like, I can't do that. Obviously, there's not that to talk about. There we go. We are officially past the halfway point. I mean, we already were, but still going. Dolphins upsetting Bills, you could say that's an upset there. I definitely do believe so, especially for me. The Dolphins don't seem to be that good. Giants upsetting the Jaguars, another one. Week 11, we have all of these games. Wait, didn't we just do this one? Yeah, we did. Oopsie, I apologize. That is a error on my end. We have Bills Chiefs, always a good one. I do have the Bills winning this one. It's the regular season, so I'm pretty confident I might be right in that. Steelers over Broncos, could argue that's an upset right there. Raiders Browns definitely should be a good one. Giants Colts, I believe, will be two teams pretty evenly matched. And we're past 2/3, so this is kind of where, in my opinion, week 13 is where it's the make or break mentality. Are you going to make the playoffs? Or, well, I shouldn't say make the playoffs. Are you going to push for that spot? Or are you going to say, you know, this season's a lost cause. Let's play towards the draft pick part of it. I hope I just showed the records. You weren't paying attention. You didn't see it. You forgot all about it, actually. But week 14 now, Bengals Chiefs could be a fun one. Making sure I'm not accidentally changing any games as well. We have the Titans upsetting the Lions in this version. That could come into play. I don't want to spoil anything, but could change up how the seeding and all of that is. Raiders over Broncos, I do think it's another one that could very well happen. Big upset potential there. Giants Browns, Jets Cardinals, one of the teams got to win in that one. Week 16 now. We're getting real close. This is where teams kind of start to fade. You know, this is where teams get eliminated. They could be trying their best, but it might not be enough. Cardinals Saints could be a big one. We have Rams Seahawks, obviously, the two teams who made the championship game last year. Week 17 now, we got Ravens Bengals, Chiefs Chargers, some division games going on. Titans with a potential upset over the Steelers. Raiders Cardinals, Texans Packers, Buccaneers Rams, Cowboys Giants. We got some real good games this week. And the last, definitely not least, we're going to go to week 18. We're then going to reveal the playoff picture, and then we're going to reveal the standings, and then we're going to go back to the playoff picture, and we're going to make our picks. But here's how I have it shaken out. The real question is, who makes the playoffs? As you can see, it's not there. Conference championship. Who gets the 1 seeds? We're going to reveal them. The Rams and Texans is the two teams I have getting the 1 seeds. Do I think that'll happen? Rams, most definitely. Texans, well, if C.J. Stroud goes back to rookie form, I do think there is a good possibility that happens as well. They do have one of the best rosters. Wild card now, we see the 4 and 5. We have the Bengals and Packers representing the 4 seeds, meaning they win their division. And then Jaguars Seahawks at the 5. First teams out of the division. We have the Bills and Buccaneers as the 3 seeds playing against the Chiefs and Panthers. So 2 big rivalries there. Obviously, Bills-Chiefs is a very big in non-division 1. And then you look at the 2 teams who were fighting for that NFC South last year. Now get to make the playoffs and play against each other. And then last, we have the Broncos and Eagles as the 2s, and then Patriots, 49ers as the 7s. But as you see, here's the draft order. You can't see the standings. We'll actually go back to week 18 real quickly. Show off those standings. So here are the standings. Feel free to yell at me all you want, but 11-6 for the Texans is enough to get the 1 seed. Very balanced. You look at the top 3 seeds, all going 11-6 in the AFC. And then you have the Chiefs and Jaguars at 10-7, and Patriots at 10-7, and Bengals at 10-7. So very even between them. Meanwhile, the NFC just kind of drips down. You see the Rams obviously very dominant, 13-4. Eagles 12-5. But then you kind of Seahawks at 11-6 will be good enough to win in literally any division except the one they're in, pretty much. And then the Eagles, obviously. And then you see the 49ers as this make it. You see the Buccaneers and Panthers both 10-7 make it. And then my favorite part is you see all four teams in the NFC North finish 10-7, but only one of them gets in. I don't know how the Packers ended up being it. I assume it's because of that divisional record. Listen, as a Packers fan, I'm not going to complain, but that's just how my picks ended up, all right? There's no homer in this, all right? Realistically, I do think I am very off about this because I do think the Lions are the best roster. However, I do think they have the worst coach. He's a good coach, just situational-wise. He often throws the game with his, decisions to, go for it and all that. I think best coach does go to Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings. Obviously, with that roster last year going that well, with an improved roster, even 1 to 2 quarterbacks that could start plays well, I think we're looking at them doing well. Obviously, and then we look at the Bears, who were the best last year. Didn't lose too many guys, but also didn't address their needs. And then you look at the Packers, who were very injured last year, making a full comeback. I think this will be the best division by far. And then you look at, the other side, you see in the AFC North, you see both the Steelers and Ravens 9-8, not good enough to make it. You see the Chargers at 9-8, not good enough to make it. Looking at the NFC East, you see the Cowboys at 10-7, Commanders at 9-8, not good enough to make it. It shows, all right? 10 wins in my simulation was not enough to make the playoffs. So, for some teams. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and scroll back to our playoff predictions. Who do we think's going to win the wild card? We're going to start with the 2 versus 7s. No upsets happening in either of these, I think. Could see it because obviously the 49ers did upset the Eagles last year, but that was, I think, a large part due to Kevin Patullo. So, yeah. And then obviously the Patriots barely beat the, no quarterback Broncos last year. I think this will be a bloodbath. They're going to take their revenge. Then we got some fun ones. Panthers, Buccaneers we're going to start with. I actually do think Carolina is the better team. I think Carolina is going to win this one. I think coach-wise, Dave Canales can run the laps around Todd Bowles. So we'll take the Panthers in this one. Chiefs, Bills, it's a classic one. But if history is going to repeat itself, it's going to be Kansas City. And then you look at the other teams. You have Jacksonville, Cincinnati. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I think Jacksonville, unfortunately, this is just 2 years they played, are one of the best teams for that seed. Jacksonville, I really like. I think they could be one of the scariest teams. Obviously, they did lose some guys, but I think they'll still be fine. But unfortunately, that's going to be 2 first-round exits in a row. And then we look at Packers, Seahawks. This might be a homer pick, but I'm taking the Packers, I think. The Seahawks, losing all those defensive talents, it will be a pretty high-scoring game. But I think Green Bay is just going to edge them out because I'm really banking on, Christian Watson staying healthy and Matthew Golden with that, year 2 breakout. And I'm hoping Brandon Sisk can lock up JSN because if not, then I might be wrong. But divisional-wise, we'll start with the bottom. Texans, Chiefs. I'm sorry, Texans. Congrats on the 1 seed, but Kansas City, I think, is going to win. Texans, always divisional round exits no matter what happens. I don't think it's changing this year. Eagles, Packers. Yeah, I can't be a homer. I think Philly's going to win this one. I think it will be a really good game. But it's going to be one of those where Philly just kind of controls the game. They take an early lead, and yes, it stays close the whole game, but Philly never lets it up. So that's the kind of game I would expect. Then we look at the other ones. I think Carolina and LA is not going to be as good as it was last year. Obviously, last year, sorry, you hear the car driving by. The Panthers almost won, but I think this time LA is not going to, play with their food. And then we look at Denver, Cincinnati. I actually have Cincinnati pulling off the win. I think that offense is going to be too much. And I do think their defense is definitely going to take a step in the right direction. The Bengals, in my opinion, are always the same thing. If that defense can play good and if Joe Burrow can stay healthy, they will be a top 3 team. And in this simulation, I think that's what's going to happen. Championship-wise, we have Chiefs, Bengals, and Rams, Eagles. I'm going to start with the Rams. I think they are going to win. I think they are the best team. And I think this is going to be a relatively iffy game. I think people are going to be on paper, wow, this is going to be a great game between, the Eagles are obviously back and the Rams, kind of on their last dance with Matthew Stafford. But I think the Rams are going to dominate. And then we have the Bengals, Chiefs. I'm going to take the Bengals. I think the Chiefs are not nearly as good as they once were. And I think that's going to prove. I think Cincinnati has only gotten better, and I think that's going to be the reason they win. So then we have a rematch of, 2021, 2022, whatever year it was. Bengals and Rams. Will history repeat itself? Will the Bengals finally get their first Super Bowl? Will Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, I said this, I think he has 2 years tops, but I think if he wins the Super Bowl this year, I think he is going to, ride on the high and retire. But if not, I think he is going to go after that one final year. And I might be wrong. He might still keep playing another year after that. But I do have him winning regardless. So if he chooses to have that, Cinderella ending where, the perfect ending, I think it will fall into his hands. And it'll be up to him, if he wants to keep playing or end on a good note. So there are my predictions. I have the Rams winning it all with the Bengals coming in second place. And then we're going to quickly show the draft order. I do have the Jets, Dolphins, and Cardinals all at 2-15. Very bad seasons from all three of them. But hey, that's a good thing for the Jets. They do get that first pick. They do have multiple firsts because of that. Dolphins, unfortunately, Malik Willis, maybe he plays well, just the supporting cast around him isn't enough to boost him to a win, but I do think that is going to, unfortunately, not happen. And then Cardinals, I think roster-wise is the worst team in the league. So Browns at 3-14. I think Shedeur Sanders, I don't think he's going to play very well. I really do like the team, but like I said, if the quarterback doesn't play well, don't expect to, do anything. So I think the Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson situation, I think you're going to enter with a top 3 pick knowing, we're going to take a quarterback. And running out the top 5, we got Tennessee. Definitely an improvement, and I do think you still roll with Cam Ward after this, but you're in a tough division. Obviously, your team still young, still improving, so I'd say it's a step in the right direction, especially a new head coach. Raiders at 6, good improvement. Saints at 7, kind of staying around the same spot they were last year. I don't think they really improved too much. Giants at 8, step in the right direction, but same thing. You're in a really tough division. Colts at 9, I think the Daniel Jones thing isn't the worst thing, but I don't think it's going to propel you to, championship levels. And then top 10, Falcons. They always finish around this area, 8 and 9. Ravens at 11, Steelers 12, Chargers 13, Commanders 14, Lions 15, Vikings 16, Bears 17, Cowboys 18, all 9-8 or 10-7, all winning records, but no playoffs for them. Then we have the Patriots, Jaguars, 49ers, Buccaneers, all being those first round exits, all 10-7. Then we see the Bills as well as a first round, Seahawks as well, 23 and 24. We see the Packers at 25, Panthers at 26, Broncos at 27, Titans at 28. Teams who couldn't make it past that second round, unfortunately for them, especially when you look at teams like the Broncos or Texans finishing with that 1 or 2 seed. And, high hopes, especially for Denver, I imagine, when, just made the championship game. We're a game away, Super Bowl. Yeah. And then Chiefs 29, Eagles 30, Bengals 31, and obviously the Super Bowl champs get that final pick in the Rams. Let me know how you think I did. Obviously, I know this probably wasn't the greatest. I do think a lot of teams are going to do a lot better than I have them projected. A lot of the teams I don't think are going to do worse, though. That was my big issue was I look at all these teams, and you look at those 10-7, 9-8 teams, they probably are going to do better. But in order for them to do better, I would have to obviously make another team do worse. And I think this will be a really good season in terms of the playoff picture. I think like 2 years ago where it was come like week 16, week 17, pretty much all but like 4 teams were eliminated. But that is going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I did. Shout out to playoffpredictors.com, NFL Playoff Predictors. I'm going to quickly throw some shade. Pro Football Network, I tried using them. Website kept resetting. Don't use them. Do not. All right, I would recommend this one. It sucks that you can't see the records while doing it, but I mean, hey, I'd much rather have a website that works than one that doesn't, even if it is worse visually. But I will see you guys next.